Hey everyone, Jeremy here. Welcome to the channel and welcome to the season finale episode of X-Men 97. Now, if you are clicking on this video and thinking, ooh, I want to watch the other episodes first, or the other reactions to those episodes, I'm going to apologize right now. I, like so many out there, expected X-Men 97 to be good. I did not expect X-Men 97 to absolutely own every single week. I am in love with this show, but I was not expecting to be. I was not going into this planning on reactions, but I've spoken to so many people about it that I feel like I need to do a reaction to the finale because I just love this series, and I am absolutely going to do season 2 after this. So, with that in mind, apologies, but at least we have this and we can talk about the series once this episode is over. If you enjoy this video, please remember to hit that like and subscribe. The like just gets this video out there. The subscribe means you will get to see season 2 when it eventually comes out, as well as all my other content. And if you'd like, the full episode reaction will be up on the Patreon. All right, let's do this.
Be mindful not to sound like you actually are a mutant.
What if I were?
Run and hide before someone starts dreaming of camps.
Ooh.
And what happens to mutants in a blacked out world?
Evolution thrives in darkness.
Restore Earth's power, or I will hijack your mind and force you to do so. Then forgive me, Magnus.
Oh! Oh my god, it's gonna come down to Will. Doesn't Magneto have enough willpower to resist Charles? Does Charles have enough to overcome it? Oh. Dee Dee!
Poetic, isn't it? The inevitability of my vision.
Doc!
Now,
your creations are prisoners, held hostage by ignorance and coercion. Hank!
think. Thus, to protect humanity, I must protect humanity from itself. From the hearts that start dripping red to the latest underdog.
Oh, this is so awesome.
Tolerance is extinction.
Do we officially have a Marvel Animated Universe?
200 times. But how's your mommy, Sebastian?
Time always tells. You know this better than most.
What?
Maybe you two should have listened to what Time's got to say about my mom.
What? What?
The Prime Sentinels were never your family. They did not choose to become slaves to hate. All this mutant DNA you stole to stay duct-taped together, young and relevant. But the Phoenix burns away the obsolete.
There it is. I was like, don't kill him. There it is.
Show me my face. You have sealed humanity's fate.
Ooh.
Think, Nathan.
Oh. Dang. Oh. Oh.
But instead, I killed Genosha in 4,621 seconds.
What?
For now.
Don't you dare break her heart. Be the best at what you do. Heal.
Hey, Romeo. Odds may be bad, but the cards are always in the X-Men's favor.
Nice little Remy from her.
His name was Gambit. Remember it!
Yes! Yes, Rogue. Beat his ass.
The name Sunspot definitely got more flair.
And while the tide of our past can drag us under, it also carries us to others.
Rogue?
Yes, people like Rogue.
And your
who
kids.
help us-
It's too cold. I'll drown.
I have you, Magnus. I'll always have you.
Oh.
Even if I'm pulled under too. Together, we will resurface.
Love it.
You'll never hurt my family again!
Dang, Cyclops.
Game over,
Ooh.
Sleazoid.
Oh! Jubes! What?
The Greeks did love horses. And irony.
Forge tends to Nathan.
No, the Magneto protocols.
Yeah, idiots. Now it's gonna crash on Earth. Like Bastion wanted.
Aren't you sappy lovebirds supposed to be saving the world?
We are. A few, actually.
I'll tell you, those legends really didn't do my folks justice.
Hmm.
I love you, son. Okay, Jean, it's time.
You know they're not gonna die, Doc. Keep telling myself that. Because there's no way they're killing them all. At least not all of them.
Scientists believe that when it makes impact, it will strike the east coast of North
Is that Peter and MJ?
She can't say it, but I can.
I love you, Logan. Stay with me.
Magneto lives!
What?
Months after E-Day, and rumors still swirl about the fate of the X-Men.
Kurt? Hank?
Oh, this is gonna be Apocalypse, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, Avi.
Damned if I know.
Jean! Where are you?
Oh!
Jean!
Scott! Over here!
We have
Is that?
a quarrel with you.
You're a long way from Crest Coast, Sapien Cast. Nathan. Come.
Do not fear us.
My name
Yeah.
is En Sabanur.
Oh.
Oh dear. So much pain, my children.
Apocalypse in the present.
So much death.
So this series is just unfairly good. That's where we're gonna start. This series is just so good, it's ridiculous. In fact, I know that a lot of people are throwing a lot of comparisons towards the MCU, going, you need to do the MCU like this. I would contend that you couldn't do this version of the X-Men without the MCU having worked. The original X-Men had to work for us to get the MCU, and the MCU had to work for us to get X-Men 97. Oh my goodness, this was so good. I'm actually going to say the finale itself wasn't as good as a couple of the other episodes. This season in general has had so many good episodes, it's ridiculous. So the finale not being an 11 out of 10, I really can't fault it for that because nothing is supposed to be an 11 out of 10, and yet they did it multiple times throughout the season. This, however, was trying to wrap up so much, but it was so good. It did such a good job of convincing me that we were going to lose somebody, that we were going to not necessarily lose all the X-Men. I even said it during the episode. I knew logically we could not lose them, but they were doing such a good job of setting that tone, of making me feel like we could, even though I knew in my brain it could not happen. I still felt like something bad could happen. I'm actually really thankful it didn't. I mean, in the way this entire series has gone, we could have had a very bleak ending, but instead, no, they won. They actually won. Now, the ramifications and what that's going to do to the political climate, that remains to be seen. Because we did get that news report there at the end that was talking about Creel is now, or Creed, Sabretooth's dad. It sounds like he is running for office and has a good chance. That he is using fear-mongering as his base. Huh. Doesn't sound familiar to real life at all. But we don't know what that's going to amount to. Will Kelly stay in office? Will Kelly actually become more of a staunch supporter of the X-Men? Because, let's face it, he lost faith in them, and so he took drastic measures, and it backfired. Had he kept his faith in the X-Men, then the asteroid wouldn't have come down. The X-Men were already working on that. It could make him more of an ally than he already was. Which means in the next season we could see very polar opposites as far as the politics going on. That actually brings me into the entire series, not just this episode, because they've done such a good job with the politics and it's not really politics. It is how society is viewing the X-Men and viewing mutants. They have done such a good job of politics comes into it, and politics is definitely a part of it, but it really is about looking at society on the whole rather than just the politics. It is never just the politics. It is about the people. But it was so nice the way they did Genosha, all the characters we were familiar with. I'm still reeling from all the deaths we had. Remy's death is soul crushing, which we'll get to that after credit thing here in a minute. Ultimately, the show, the X-Men in general, is a lot about ideology. And, you know, look at Eric and Charles, their entire friction between them. That is all about their differing philosophies, the way they look at the world. And that is exactly what they do with each individual character. If they really highlighted each character's viewpoint on the world in some form or another throughout the series. And I just love that about it. The writing in this is far beyond what I was expecting. And that's what I was saying at the beginning, where I was really prepared to just watch this as a show that I enjoy myself at home and not react to it at all. Because I didn't expect to love it as much as I do. I expect to like it. I expected it would be pretty good. I did not expect it to be at the level it is. The craft that went into this is top tier. What we were expecting, or at least what I was expecting, was I figured this would be just a slightly more mature X-Men because it's going to be aimed more towards the adults, but you can bring in the kids as well. And then, you know, you have this nice cross section of, the 90s, original 90s X-Men versus the 97 X-Men, which, you know, will be a bit more adult, but not a lot more, you know, just enough. Bring it up a notch. This was fully something I was not expecting. This was something very different. This was written at a level where it's, yeah, the kids are going to enjoy all the flashing lights and the superhero action, but the story, the characters, the drama is very adult. Rogue was cheating on Remy. Her and Magneto were having sex. There is no way around that. You could argue, oh no, they aren't. They were just in the danger room. No, that was the one line I felt like the show couldn't fully cross was, well, we can't show two characters actually in bed together. So we're just going to allude to it. Oh, and I do need to go back to what I was going to say before about Remy. Okay, so the post-credit scene had Apocalypse at Ground Zero. I'm going to assume that he's bringing back Remy next season. I don't know that that's going to be the case. I kind of feel like they're teeing up Age of Apocalypse. I feel like with that story, we might see the return of a few characters. I'm not certain, especially since they might be screwing up time. Because the X-Men have now gone back in time, that might change a few things. As much as I want Gambit back, I don't know if I really want him back. I don't want this to become a series where we completely undo deaths all the time. And so as much as it crushes me, and I was absolutely just teary-eyed when Rogue even just semi-quoted Remy. I don't know if that was a quote, but it was a very Remy thing to say in the episode. My heart just dropped. Yeah, I want him back, but for the sake of story, I kind of don't. But if they, maybe they'll find a way to bring him back and it'll feel good and organic, and heck, maybe he'll even have to sacrifice himself again. Who knows? Which going back into that a little bit, the Rogue thing, it's very odd that I don't hate her for what she did with Magneto, for breaking Remy's heart. Disappointed in her, mad at her, but yeah, because it's much like, well, a family. A lot of us watched X-Men when it was originally on, so these characters are very much a part of us. So and read the comics and, you know, movies and everything else. So it feels like I can't hate her. I can't. I'm disappointed in her. I'm mad that she did it, but I don't hate her. And I think they did a really great job of portraying her as a real person, as a complicated mess. That complicated mess we all are. I mean, you think about it. You can't touch anyone. As much as Remy loved her and wanted to touch her, she knew she would kill him. To finally have a release, to finally find someone you can do that with, and someone you actually do have feelings for, and someone you could technically have a future with, which she always wavered on. Could she really have a future with Gambit? That's a real thing to consider. If she ever wants to have kids, if she ever wants to have any sort of family, whether that's actually just adopt kids, take in kids, doing that with Remy was going to be substantially more difficult than it would be with Magnus. But even with that, there's that whole connection feeling, that ability to touch. It's a lot. But I'm also going to understand the people who completely hate her and think she did wrong by Remy, and I do think she did wrong by Remy. But yeah, I just think they did such a good job with all the characters of making them feel so human, to feel so complex. Another example being Scott's feelings towards Jean and Madeline. They're the same person. How do you even parcel that? How? You can't. Jean even had the same memories as Madeline, which was screwing her up. And Madeline was having the same memories as Jean. And Scott is sitting here looking at them going, this Jean I had a child with and married. This Jean I fell in love with originally. And they're literally the same person. That's enough to cook your noodle. And I love that they addressed that head on. Jean was screwed up over it. Scott was screwed up over it. Madeline was screwed up over it. But they all had to acknowledge that they're different people, but they all share something. And I like that they addressed that fully. I do feel that storyline was a little bit more resolved quicker than I expected. Because the next time, basically it was Madeline left, and then the next episode we're at Geonosia, and there she is. She's working there. Which, presumably, there was a pretty good time jump between those two episodes. However, it just because, like with me, who actually came into the series late, I watched those two episodes together. So that felt like they were, you know, there was no time between. So it was a little bit of a jump in there. I feel like that was a little bit of a misstep. I do feel like there should have been a little bit more of a curve leading into that episode. But then again, I would not trade those episodes for the world. They were unbelievable. That was Game of Thrones, good Game of Thrones level writing. And that's what kills me about this series in general. And that is what I'm going to gush about the entire time I'm sitting here, and have been. The writing. The writing. And the directing. Let's not do a disservice to the director or the voice, the actors. Oh my goodness. Everybody across the board was doing their job. What I didn't expect was the writing to be at the same level as one of these premium or premiere shows, like HBO puts out, you know, like a Last of Us or a Game of Thrones, or it's a Breaking Bad, you know, something like that, where it is just this prestige series. You know, someone you would expect to earn Emmys across the board and things like that. That is how I feel about this series. I feel like they put so much real talent and effort into crafting this series that it kind of hangs with those. That's where, in my mind, it does anyway. And now starts the long wait for season 2. Oh my, which I do wonder, will they call it X-Men 98? I feel like they should. I kind of want them to. I want them to keep going. Time is obviously passing in the series. So, I mean, Julie has now graduated. She's an adult. I want time to continue moving. I love that idea. I want it to continue. X-Men 97 should be X-Men 98 next season. I'm just saying. I don't know if they'll do it, but I really want them to. Also, are we going to see another show in the X-Men, or not X-Men, but the Marvel animated universe? Because obviously we know some of the shows in the 90s kind of were in the same universe as X-Men. Spider-Man specifically was, but Iron Man and others were tenuous. So was this establishing the fact that we really do have a Marvel animated universe and we might see more? I don't know, but I'm hoping. I'm really hoping for that Spider-Man, because frankly, we need that to be followed up on. Anyway, what did you think of this episode, and what did you think of this series? These were basically my series thoughts, not just the episode thoughts. So whatever you're thinking about the series as a whole, leave it in the comments below. Were you shocked like me at the quality of this series? Do you think they should or should not bring Remy back? Because again, I still think they're teeing that up. What story or storylines do you think they are setting up for the next season? Whatever your thoughts, leave them in the comments below. Like I mentioned up top, if you enjoyed this video, remember to hit that like and subscribe. And before I go, as always, please take care of yourselves and please take care of each other. Thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye.